Hi, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I'm coming with a video that's slightly different than what I've kind of been posting on my channel this far. As you guys may know, if you've been following my vlogs, I am coming upon my 35th birthday. By the time this video is posted, my birthday will be 4 days away. My birthday is February the 28th, which is this coming Thursday. And so I'm really excited. I don't know about you guys, but when it's time for my birthday, what I actually like to do, and I'm gonna say this, I do this now that I'm getting older, more so than when I was younger. When I was in my 20s, I didn't do this, but now that I'm getting older, I actually take that time to kind of reflect on the 35 years. This year will be the 35 years I've been on earth. Kind of like how my life is going. Is it going the way I want it to go? If there are things I would like to change. So I just really take time and just kind of reflect upon, you know, the last year, the last 5 years, and just trying to do what I call check-ins is what. So generally I usually take my birthday off, but this year I will not be having my birthday off. I am actually traveling for work to New York, which is kind of exciting. I'm excited to do that. So I will be actually working on my birthday this year. But I started this weekend during my alone time to just kind of start reflecting upon, you know, the last year, which was really hard, really tough. As you guys probably know and familiar with my fibroid story, I had that surgery last year. So 34 was kind of rough. So I'm very excited for the newness of 35 and just ready to just move forward and just push ahead and, you know, get this year off to a really good start. So what I'm coming today to do is talk about something I've kind of alluded to on my channel, and the fact that I have generalized anxiety disorder, which is also pronounced as GAD. G-A-D is kind of like the shortened abbreviation that you'll kind of see the medical term, the medical industry use. Generalized anxiety disorder is a mental illness, and I'm coming to do this this video, and I was talking to my best friends about it last night and letting them know that I was going to film this today, and she asked me a good question. She was like, I told her I felt like this video would be like one of my most vulnerable ones, even more so than my fibroid video, which is interesting, but it has to do with the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. She asked me, you know, what did I feel about, you know, being vulnerable, and I told her I actually feel empowered. And as I share my story, I let you guys understand kind of like where I'm coming from with that. So I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder in 2015. I think it was actually March, shortly after my birthday, March 2015. I had no idea that I had anxiety. The doctors didn't know I had anxiety. What led me to go and get checked out is I was having racing heart. So I would just be sitting on a couch watching TV, and then my heart rate out of nowhere would just start speeding, like literally like felt like it was going to beat out my chest. And you know, if anyone knows, like your heart is a vital organ in your body. So as soon as that happened, I went to the emergency room and they checked me, did an EKG, they did an echo exam of my heart, which is an echo is an ultrasound of the heart, to see what was going on, and everything came back normal. And so my doctor then, after I went to the emergency room, you know, they tell you to go follow up with your doctor. And so when I went to my primary care physician, she was like, oh, you're just stressed. Just try to do, you know, some things you know, to kind of level set your stress so that you're not so stressed. I think this is caused by stress. So I thought about that, and I was like, okay. So I tried to calm down and not be as stressed, but I had another occurrence, same issue, sitting, just hanging out at home, hearts just start racing out of my chest. So I went back to the doctor. And so she did other exams this time. So she did like thyroid test and some other stuff to kind of see if there was something else they were missing that is going on with my body, and everything came back normal. So then I started having other symptoms. Some of my other symptoms was I had dizziness. Like one day I was dizzy the entire day. Like it felt like I was unstable whenever I stood. I had these things where if you're sitting down, it feels like you're falling, but you're not. They're called, I think, head swims or something like that. I was having those a lot. And then the last thing that was also kind of scary is that I was having this tightening in my head. Like I almost felt like head contractions. Like it's very hard to explain. So I went back to the doctor, told her these new symptoms that I was having, and so she looked it up, and then she did a mental exam on me and just asked, you know, different things. When they do the mental exam, they was like, have you ever thought about doing, you know, harm to yourself, or do you find yourself being more anxious than normal? Those type of questions. And so once she went through that exam, she diagnosed me with generalized anxiety disorder. And as soon as I was diagnosed with it, y'all, I lied to you not, I went home and Googled the heck out of generalized anxiety disorder. Like I was just Googling it, trying to figure out what it was, this, that, and the third. And I read up a lot on it. And the more I read up on it, the more I realized that she was right. I had generalized anxiety disorder. A lot of my symptoms I saw on some forums, people were having the same type of symptoms and everything. I'll go back and say that when I was at the doctor, when she diagnosed me, she immediately wanted to put me on medication. She wanted to put me on a drug called Lexapro, and I declined because when she asked me, she was like, oh, well, this drug, are you trying to conceive? Are you thinking about, and at that time, I wasn't even thinking about having kids or anything of that nature. And, you know, I told her no, but the fact that, I feel like the fact that she had to ask me that question before prescribing the medicine meant that this medicine was very strong. So she said, okay, if you don't want to get on the medication, and I think that doctors, because their profession is medicine, I mean, they think the cure-all is just to prescribe you a medicine. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that if you go to a doctor and you give them your symptoms, they're immediately writing you a prescription. I'm not a person that likes to take a lot of medication. So she was like, okay, well, if you don't want to take this medication, then you could try cognitive therapy, which is basically going to see a therapist about, you know, my disorder and getting cognitive therapy to kind of work through it. So that's the route I took. I did not get on the Lexapro, and I went through cognitive therapy. So I saw a therapist once a week for the course of, was it 3 months before she released me? I can't remember. It started off once a week, and I think I went once a week for a month. And then the second month it tapered off to bi-weekly, and then the third month it kind of, so she kind of like gradually reduced my sessions, and that was life-changing. Going through that cognitive therapy, what the cognitive therapist actually helped me do is she helped me train my thoughts. So the issue with anxiety, and I hate when I tell people that I have anxiety and it's like, oh, well, can't you just calm yourself down? No, if you have generalized anxiety disorder, your mind does not work that way, and it's also a chemical imbalance. So it's bigger than just saying, oh, calm down, which is one of the most common misconceptions about someone with anxiety disorder. It's a bigger deal. So what she helped me figure out is how to train my thoughts. So as soon as I had a negative thought, because what anxiety does is you are basically given a scenario, so you can have a scenario going through your mind automatically defaults to the worst case of that scenario. So say if I'm flying on a plane, and I'm flying, and my mind automatically defaults to this plane is going to fall out the sky and crash, right? So your mind defaults to the worst possible scenario without there being any evidence of that occurring, right? So the therapist was like, when you have those type of thoughts, you have to say, okay, this is a thought that's running through my head. I'm going to the worst case scenario, and then you have to bring yourself back to rationalization and say, okay, what are the chances that this plane is going to actually fall out of the sky? How many occurrences have you heard of that a plane has just fallen out of the sky? And you have to have like a rational, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, like a rational epiphany, and then you realize you kind of talk yourself off the train. So we did a lot of like training exercises for that, and so as soon as those type of thoughts would come to my mind, I now know how to talk myself down off of it. Another thing that we did was a lot of like mindfulness testing and mindfulness strategies. So what mindfulness is it makes you more aware of your day-to-day interactions. So, you know, like when you wake up in the morning, you go about your normal morning routine and it's almost like you're on autopilot. You're just going through your routine and your thoughts may come in and out of your head, and you know, you're just still doing your routine and going on about your life. What mindfulness now teaches you, what mindfulness teaches you is to be aware of everything that you're doing. So instead of having those racing thoughts going through your mind as you're brushing your teeth, concentrate on brushing your teeth. What does that sensation feels like? You know, what is your mouth feeling like and things like that. It makes you concentrate on what the task at hand, because what happens is with anxiety is because you have so many racing thoughts coming throughout your head, in and out of your head, you're going to these irrational thoughts without even realizing you're doing it. But if you concentrated on the task at hand or things that you're doing, you're less able to have those thoughts. So mindfulness kind of teaches you to be more in control of your thoughts and what you're doing, as opposed to just having those random thoughts go in and out of your head. So I would say those were two main things that helped me in my therapy. It's the think training and understanding your thoughts and rationalizing them instead of going to that worst case scenario, and then also doing the mindfulness and understanding, you know, being, how does she say it? I can't. Being aware of what you're doing, all the tasks that you're doing. And that really helped me. And so I can say that my anxiety is much better. As soon as I realized what was causing my symptoms automatically decreased, which further made me aware that I had anxiety. Because once I had that racing heart, and you know, whenever you have something going on, like I said before with your heart, you automatically think, you know, I thought I was having a heart attack. And you know, so I'm going to the emergency room, and you know, they do, when you say heart, they take that very serious. So I'm automatically, you know, going to the worst case scenario. And then every time I would have to go to the doctor to get tested for something else, I automatically went to the worst case scenario. So on top of going through like this anxiety spell, I was also heightening my anxiety because I didn't know what was wrong with me. But immediately when she diagnosed me and I researched it and realized what it was, my symptoms started to decrease. Now I will say that on a day-to-day basis, I don't have like very prominent symptoms, but I will have creep ups. Like I will have instances, say if I'm very stressed at work, or if there's something going on in my personal life that has me very stressed, I'll have these occurrences where I go through like anxiety spell. It's never been as worse as it was when I was initially diagnosed, because I have that training to help me kind of cope with it. And I have been fortunate enough not to have to get on any medication to help control my anxiety. I know this is not always the case for everyone. And when I go to my primary care physician, we do checkups in regards to it. So she makes sure that I'm not just avoiding the medication. Like I think if it got, you know, dire and cognitive therapy was no longer working for me, I would take the medication. But because the cognitive therapy worked for me, I have not gotten on any medication to control my anxiety disorder. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to come on here and kind of just put it out there, start the conversations. As I said with my fibroid videos, I am being as transparent as possible on YouTube in hopes to help someone else that may be going through the same thing. I know, like I said before, there is a stigma with mental illness in the Black community, and I will say, and my mom's really better now, but I will say when I first told her that I had generalized anxiety disorder and was going to see a therapist, she was like, what are you going to see a therapist for? And I was like, I need help. You know, your mental health is just as important as your physical health, if not more. So I wanted to film this video to just kind of add some context to some of the things that I've alluded to in my previous videos. I kind of said in my fibroid video about me having anxiety, so I wanted to come on and do like a full story of my anxiety discovery. I don't know if that's what you call it. But just to let you know that something that my GYN doctor told me before I was going through my surgery, she was like, just know that everything is curable, is pretty much what she said. There's a solution to every situation that you may be encountering. And although I know that when you're going through that storm, or when you're going through that situation, you don't see the end sight, but just know that as long as you stay the course, that it will work itself out, and there is a solution out there. So I hope this video was helpful to someone out there who may be suffering from anxiety. I didn't go into as much of the medical stuff. I'm filming this video from my perspective and kind of like what I experienced. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I would love to engage with you guys. And guess what? Today, Saturday, February 23rd, I reached 100 subscribers. So I'm so thankful. Thankful to everyone out there who thought enough to just subscribe to my page. I know some people are like 100, that's nothing, but that's big to me because I remember when I just had 12. So thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Please be sure to like and comment, hit the notification button so you can be aware of all my other videos. Please share with family and friends, and that's it.